I did. That one was, I don't know why it hit different, but it did. It hit different for me.
It was
But
really unnecessary. Like, not to
right,
say that others weren't, but like
it was egregiously unnecessary.
yeah, and it was a slow process.
I
Like
was
you
just say,
could
I
have
think it was
stopped
a
at
slow
any
process.
point. Like you had mad time to think about this. It wasn't like a split-second decision, which a lot of the other ones were. Like you had to make a decision in that moment. Like, nah, you chose to just sit there on this man's neck indefinitely, like for as long
Right,
as you felt like it.
right. And to be perfectly honest, you know what? I'm not gonna go um down the race rabbit hole. But I will toy with um, the power agenda. I don't know this cop. Don't know anything about him. I could say that, he, from what I've seen and some evidence that's been presented, that he shows the tendencies of someone who is potentially racist. However, what I will say is this: I think in that particular instance, it had gotten past controlling the suspect and more
Mm-hmm.
about proving to the crowd that he's the boss.
Right.
I'm the boss. Oh, y'all telling me to move? Fine, I'll sit here. Oh, you telling me that I need to do this? I'll put my hands in my pockets while I sit here.
Right.
It at that point, it wasn't even about subduing the person that was on. He was subdued. He was on the ground,
You had the
hands cuffed
situation at
behind him.
hand.
Right. Put him in the car. And I think that's what really made it hit different for me, because it wasn't even about the person on the ground anymore.
Right.
It was about proving your point. And that's where, for me, it's like, dude, you were on a power trip more than anything.
Right.
Now, the other thing that hits with that is, I don't know if you all saw the autopsy report got released yesterday. And
I saw it.
everything with the autopsy report, honestly, to me, points in the direction that at the very worst, that officer or the other officers involved will get manslaughter at the worst. So I think that's a big part of what happened last night too. I know people are trying to push for, second degree, but
Didn't
when
he get
reading,
third-degree murder or charged
yeah,
with third? Which is what? I don't even understand what third-degree murder is. Third-degree murder and manslaughter are the charges that I heard.
Right. I don't particularly know the legal jargon of how, what defines third degree.
I promise I've never heard that term prior to this situation.
I've heard first, second, and manslaughter.
Yeah, right.
I don't know too much about it, but from what I've read and gathered, third-degree murder is probably the easiest one to get out of. And coincidentally, it's only used in 3 states, which Minnesota is one of.
Wow.
As well as Florida and Pennsylvania.
Okay, so you got Minnesota, then you got Florida, so that helps Zimmerman out.
Not that he needed help, but
yeah, he
I'm reading it here real quick just to assist us. It says depending on the state, third-degree murder may include felony murder, regardless of underlying felony. Felony murder only where the underlying felony is non-violent or depraved heart murder. It is punishable by a maximum of 40 years imprisonment in Florida, in the case of a violent career criminal, in Pennsylvania, and 25 years imprisonment in Minnesota.
That's the maximum.
In the case of a violent career criminal.
Yep. So 25 years max in Minnesota.
And they won't be able to prove that he's a violent career criminal.
Right. Yeah, right. They have to prove that he's got to get a max, to possibly get a max of 25 years. If anything, he's probably gonna get off with maybe
I say 5.
But he also got charged with manslaughter. So if he gets found guilty of both charges, then those sentences will be served concurrently, I would imagine.
Right, they would be. I'm saying 5 max.
You're saying 5, like both?
Yeah, that's just something in my gut says that. And especially after, like I said, after reading the autopsy report, the autopsy report pretty much states that the cause of death had nothing to do with the knee being in the back of his neck. There were no signs of asphyxiation, combined with, a stressful situation, and some previous medical history
It
and
says
things
something
of
about
that nature.
hypertension, which I
Right.
know can lead to heart failure. So
Right.
if the stress of the situation led to heart failure, then to me that's still murder.
That points at manslaughter.
It's
That
negligent. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it points at manslaughter, and that's why I say, I say that everything in that autopsy report sets the stage for manslaughter.
And here's where the lawyers and stuff come into work. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't speak for them, but I mean, I didn't seen crazier situations. Told you. But it says here, conveniently, Minnesota law originally defined third-degree murder solely as depraved heart murder, right, without intent to affect the death of any person. So they're going to cling on to that, like he didn't mean to kill him. It also says cause or causing the death of another by perpetrating an act eminently dangerous to others and evincing a depraved mind. They're going to say,
he wasn't putting anybody else in danger.
Right. And without regard for human life. They're going to say he's a cop who's doing his job, and they're going to start putting all sorts of things in there like, 10 years ago, George Floyd stole a candy bar from a store. They're going to, so this is why
they're going to say he has a history. He stole the candy bar from the store. The reason that the officers approached him to begin with is because he was a suspect for fraudulent behavior. Supposedly he wrote a hot check for a sandwich in a sandwich shop. Now, look, I done ate a lot of sandwiches in my day. I've never paid for a sandwich with a check.
You didn't buy that BK with a check?
No. They wasn't having it. They was like, "Yo, give me the card, yo." but
personal checks, throw them personal checks in there too.
You know what? I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna go to next time I go get some food. I'm taking a checkbook.
First of all, if you try to pay for your sandwich with a check, I'm assuming that it's fraudulent.
Exactly.
Oh
man, but all of that said, I really think the stage is being set for the lesser of the two charges, and I think that it's going to cause even more of an outrage than what's already going on. Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, that stage is. I mean, like we were saying, like we see it every time that there's a selection year or voting year, and presidency is involved. A war starts, or that's what it seems like. So, what more convenient way to start a war, but within your, on your own grounds, within your own people, and cause the biggest divide. I mean, it's not causing the divide because the divide has always been there. It's just enticing it further and pushing people to really want to get out there.
But who does this narrative help more?
I don't think it helps President Trump.
Right.
Like, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I mean, you could say, I mean, people have their opinions on President Trump for the first 3 years. I won't even dive into that. We'll save that for another go round.
Yeah.
But I think we can all sit here and safely say President Trump 2020 has been quite shitty. It's been bad. It's been bad. I don't know if he or anyone for that matter could rebound from this 2020.
Collectively,